Hello everybody and welcome to this, your Leo, August 2025 reading and forecast. Hi, I'm Nigel Saint James, clairvoyant. Well, what a time of year for you this is, isn't it? The month of August. Leo, do you know that in the ancient Babylonian zodiac there was a sign called the lion, and the Greeks brought it across, and it's still with us today because you do, of everybody in the zodiac, show the qualities, the strength, daring of the lion, don't you? Well, as a clairvoyant, you know that, and the details are in the description that I can provide clairvoyant reading for you. Now that, to make it clear, that is charged for. It's all set out in the description. There's another thing which I also am very happy to provide you, and that is healing. Now that spiritual gift was provided to me at birth, and I've been doing it for longer than I can even remember. It's my spiritual duty to provide it to people who seek it and to get nothing in return for it. So there's no fee, you won't be talked into anything, you won't be told, suggested to have a reading, you won't be sold anything, you won't go on a mailing list or anything like that. So if this is calling out to you, don't be shy. Just check out the description and get hold of me. Now, there are no video advertisements breaking their way into this content, and so you get to enjoy the experience without interruption. Now let's see what there is for you, the highly talented and attractive Leo. There is death. What's this? The Four of Cups. Here is the Seven of Swords. This is the Four of Swords. Interesting. These things all interact with each other, of course, so we won't just see what there is in just a moment. And then finally there is the Hierophant. Well, why don't you come and sit down here next to me? I'll also bring the camera around so that everybody else can see as well, and together we'll let the cosmic energies whisper their messages to us while I do the reading for you. A lot of transitioning going on in your life. Now these doubts that you get are dispelled, and the story moves through in a very productive and successful way for you, as I can see it so far. Let's have a look at this Four of Cups, shall we? No reason other than I like to look at stuff of ancient Rome. Now this is somebody who is, I would say, undoubtedly casting a spell, and probably a love spell to get at an ex-lover. Nevertheless, the astrology of this is the moon in the third decan of Cancer, which, well, the moon rules Cancer, so that's a good thing here. Now, there is around you a lot of love, tenderness, care, and emotional riches here, but you've got to dig deep and move on with some things here. And this is testifying to love that you get from other people in particular. This is a time when you actually get support from other people for a change, rather than being the person who has to do everything yourself. And this is part of the emotional richness that's going to fill you this month, expressing itself in your environment, probably through, I'd say beauty and luxury. Now these golden cups that are here, no, I'm not supposed to be talking about these things, but I can't help myself. They express the wealth of feeling at hand, whose roots are deep in your subconscious. This is a luxury, and this luxury is a responsibility as well as a gift. It demands you to have reasonable behavior and awareness, as well as an ability to enjoy and share and pass it on to others. There is a danger here, though, that the emotions, well, the moon has different cycles, doesn't it? I saw a moon around somewhere. Here we go, there's an eclipse. The moon has different cycles, and you might find that your emotions can change like the cycles of the moon, or that the emotions take on a life of their own, and that reasonable behavior could be thrown to the winds, and you are maybe driven by the emotions unconsciously. Well, look, love is supposed to be fiery, isn't it? But if it goes over the top, then what happens is that this gold that's here will just turn grey, especially in intimate relationships. Now, I will say this because I have to, because it's why you watch me, is that perhaps there is something of a boredom or a dissatisfaction in your life. Yeah, I think it's going to drive you to make some changes. Maybe you're too familiar with your environment, or you've come to the end of your tether with something. Now, this is bringing about, I think, something like a lack of motivation. You've got to work out what you want. It could mean that you are looking at material things for happiness. You're looking for a temporary hit or fix as an escape by buying things, as an escape from feelings of discontent. Now, you are being given much love and devotion, so enjoy it without becoming dependent on it. But there's just something underneath that isn't quite right. Is there any relationship in which you feel restricted? And it doesn't just have to be a romantic relationship. Now, I wonder if this can throw any light on it. What can you tell me? For my friend here. Well, pretty obviously, this is a depiction of the Dalai Lama. The Dalai Lama is said to be reborn into a person. There's a lot of Taurus energy around here, so I think that material things, possessions, moving maybe, acquiring things, seeking better things, seeking better lovers, could be around, I'd say. Now, this hierophant card traditionally sort of speaks about going inward and seeking kind of like a self-realization or an enlightenment, but I actually do not get that at all at the moment. Rather, it is something more emotional than spiritual here, I think. Often wondering what other people think about you, perhaps. Well, look, let me say this. Life is too short to waste any amount of time on wondering what other people think about you. Because, let me tell you, they basically don't spend any time thinking about you at all unless you have something that they want, or as if you are in line for a position that they want. I think you're going to come to the conclusion that other people's opinions of you don't matter, and that what is important to you is not other people's opinions. What's important to you is your opinion of yourself and following your gut instinct. Now, here is the thing with you. You're like the glamour girl or the movie star male of the zodiac. And you're a bit different. Now, when you're different, sometimes you don't see the thousands of people who accept you for what you are. All you notice is the person who doesn't. What this is saying is that the only person who can pull you down is yourself. And I think you're going to make the decision. I can see it coming through here, that you are not going to let yourself pull you down anymore. Now, as I say, the glamour girl or the movie star male of the zodiac, You know, you could be the most beautiful person in the world and everybody sees light and rainbows when they look at you. But if you yourself don't know it or doubt it, all of that doesn't even matter. Every second that you spend on doubting your worth, every moment that you use to criticize yourself, as coming up here, is a second of your life wasted. It is a moment of your life thrown away. Now, let me tell you the bad news. None of us are getting out of here alive. And it's not like I or you have forever. So don't waste any of your precious seconds. Don't throw even one of your sacred moments away. Now, I think as far as women are concerned, that when a woman becomes her own best friend, life becomes easier. And I think it is also the case, too, that you really are your own biggest critic sometimes. People will find this impossible to understand, but it is true, isn't it? Before anybody else has criticized you, you've already criticized yourself. But I think now, for the rest of your life, you're going to say to yourself, I am going to be with me, and I don't want to spend my life with someone who is always critical. So I'm going to stop being my own critic. It's high time that I accepted all the good things about me. You understand, of course, that the most powerful words that you will ever hear in your life are the words that you tell yourself. They go straight into your subconscious, which is software. The words get coded. Your subconscious doesn't care whether the code is true or false or reasonable or not. It just takes what you say, codes it, and then makes your conscious mind and your body do it. So dare to love yourself as if you were a rainbow with gold at both ends. And I do want to say it's saying a couple of other things. First of all, about love yourself. Love yourself for all of you, the good, the bad, accept it, integrate it into you. Love everything about you, accept yourself. When you do that, you know what the value of love is. And when you love yourself, you become beautiful, and everybody else, they see it. You understand that, don't you? And ask yourself, how would your life be different if you stopped allowing other people to dilute or poison your day just with their words or opinions? I mean, who are these people? Who are they against you? Let today be the day you stand strong in the truth of your beauty and journey through your day without attachment to the validation of others. And there, where was that moon thing that I saw there? Moon eclipses. Actually, I'll tell you something interesting by way of a by-side. You know, people thought that the earth was flat for a long time, but the Greeks never did, because in 350 BC, Aristotle, you will have heard of him, he looked up at the moon and said that there's always a circular shape to the earth when it is eclipsing with the moon. Now, it's not a disk because it happens at different angles, so it'll happen if it's at that angle or that angle as well. So the earth must be round. And he also did that by walking north and south and seeing different stars. And said, well, the earth is obviously round. A lot of people don't know that. Not many people know that, but it's true. Now, here is the moon ruling the third, the moon, there it is, ruling the third decan of Aquarius. Well, the emotions of the moon here are clouding the mental qualities of Aquarius, and Aquarius is weakened, which is giving you a lack of clarity. Where there is within you a sense of discouragement, fear about existence. Everything seems to be clouded by a film, but it's just too good to be true. I haven't the energy. There's no time. I'm already too old. That's too much good at once. I could never cope with so much success. We feel like you want to procrastinate, or you're working beneath your standards, doing just enough, just coasting along. In a nutshell, I suppose I would characterize this as, and again, it's hard to believe of someone like you, but self-doubt, which makes it seem that difficulties are unable to be overturned. And I think it's subconscious doubts that might be surfacing here, because here we have the moon and the sun. But you know, your fears, they just don't have anything to do with reality. You know, wake up, see what's really happening. Do you have any idea of how blessed you are to even be here at all? Now, what I'm getting is that you know the voice that sometimes comes into your head that taunts you whenever you try to be optimistic. It criticizes you when things get tough. It's whining and moaning and repeats negative things like, you can't do it, you'll never be loved, you're going to look stupid. Well, let's call that voice self-doubt. And every negative thought that you've ever had about yourself came from self-doubt. Whenever you focus on what self-doubt says, you activate the feelings those thoughts created in you. You activate the software. When you remember and dwell on those negative thoughts, self-doubt strips you of your confidence. Self-doubt is like the manipulative man. It tries to belittle you and steal your happiness and your glory. And it wants to leave you scared and insecure. Well, not you. The only way to silence self-doubt is by consciously activating another thought, reprogramming yourself. In other words, removing all that old negative coding in your mind and replacing it with other thoughts, such as, and say them several times a day, I am good enough. I've always been good enough. I always will be good enough. I am lovable. I always have been lovable. I always will be lovable. I am important. I matter. I deserve to be here. I am a child of the beloved. Now, I'm not going to go into the math with you, but I've done it, and let me tell you that the mathematics says that it is impossible for you to be here. And yet here you are. So, clearly, it's no accident. Now, when you fix on where your self-doubt is, this is saying, because these swords which are being taken away here, these are words and thoughts. You say, and I'll tell you, a thought, what is a thought? A thought is a picture. The picture is one that you have painted yourself, and you have put the words around it, by and large. Sometimes narcissistic relationships can have imbeciles saying things which are designed to hurt us. But this kid's running away with thoughts and words which do not belong with you. They belong here, centered and controlled by this warrior. So you get rid of all the old programming and you replace it by saying several times a day, "This bad thought that comes, show me yourself in detail. Let me see what you are." And ask it 2 questions. What value are you bringing to my life? And how are you behaving? And by doing that, you see, you're forcing the thought to justify itself to you. You poke it in the chest and you find that it is an empty shirt. And then you say to the thought, "You have nothing to do with my life. I am not accepting you into me." Now, only an idiot can walk around thinking happy thoughts all the time. I'm not suggesting that. But create a little prison inside yourself and say, "Okay, you thought you belong in there, but I am not accepting you into me. I have talents and gifts which were given to me by the beloved, and I am not going to allow them to remain unborn in an unholy miscarriage." And when you go through that process, it's going to bring you peace. Now, here we have a young woman who is out in the forest, I suppose, at night, but here protected by this wolf. Now, this is Jupiter in the 3rd decan of Libra. Now, Libra tries to find balance in your life, and the need for balance can induce unrest and can lead to change, is what I'm getting here. But Jupiter is bringing you a period of rest from a difficult situation where you can think about what is necessary to be done, as well as opening up your higher mind's flexibility which is needed to resolve conflicts. Jupiter also allows you to move on. There's a calmness coming with you now, a recuperation. There's a spiritual cleansing and a clarity here. And what this is going to lead to is enough inner clarity to successfully carry out what you plan in this stage. Now just make sure that you feel good about what is happening at all times. Say this to yourself: "Look, whatever else is going on around me, I am at peace within myself." And then finally, well, I do see you moving on from things. Could be plans, could be people, could be ideas, certainly ways of thinking about yourself. Geez, I love death cards. They're great. This is, who would that be? Well, the Spanish members of our audience will know this as Nuestra Señora de la Santa Muerte, which is Our Lady of Holy Death, often shortened to Santa Muerte. That's become something of a Catholic / geographic type of cult religion. Now, I think there could well be some things happening with you, because this is Mars ruling Scorpio. Now, Mars, that planet of fiery energy here in its lowest form, which is necessary to provide the impetus to make change. It's almost like there's a death and resurrection here, certainly a transformation. You become free of old chains. There are some endings here. Letting go of emotional attachments, in a sense, is the end of an era. Great transformation here. And the act of letting go, difficult as it may be, is actually going to free you. And death shows 2 faces, one destroying and tearing down, and the other freeing you from old chains which have become confining and preventing life. Now, something in your life is dying, dissolving, or disintegrating, whether that be a structure you have created, a pattern of thought, a habit, or a way of thinking about yourself and the world. This is necessary for new beginnings and transformation in your life. Because in order to grow, you've got to abandon the old. Death is your protection against stagnation. And I think you could well be forced to leave behind what you have outgrown. You are now ready to make the necessary changes in your life. And take it on the chin. Any aggravation that may come with the loss of the old, ask yourself, to what outdated or unsatisfactory relationships or situations are you still clinging to? Now, I will tell you that you can spend minutes, hours, days, weeks, or even months over-analyzing a situation, trying to put the pieces together, justifying what could have or would have happened. Or you could just leave the pieces on the floor and just move on. There's a sense of letting go. Do you know, letting go means that you just might come to the realization that some people are part of your history, but not part of your destiny. You know, it happens to everybody as we grow up. You find out who you are and what you want. And I think, as I may have said, the bad news is that none of us are getting out of this alive. This is not a dress rehearsal. It's not an advertisement for a feature to come. This is it. So you find out what you want. And then you realize sometimes that people that you've known forever don't see things the way that you do. So just keep the wonderful memories, but find yourself moving on. But you must make a decision that you are going to move on. It won't happen automatically. You'll have to rise up and say, I don't care how hard this is. I don't care how disappointed I am by this situation or person. I'm not going to let this get the best of me. I'm moving on with my life. Letting go does not mean that you don't care about someone anymore. It's just realizing that the only person you really have control over is yourself. So in a sense, what this is calling upon you to is to say yes to death and yes to myself. Well, what a fascinating spread of cards for you. Made so much better for you being here. Well, I so enjoyed your company during that reading. And unless I see you in the meantime, either for a clairvoyant reading or for a healing, then I'll see you here again next month. And until then, remember one thing though, and it is this, that you are a legend. And I look forward to seeing you again next month. Until then, it's bye for now.